is the Orange Zone, sponsored by Apex Entertainment.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into another edition of the Orange Zone podcast. We have Ashley Wenskoski, I'm Samantha Croston, and you guessed it, the boy is back.
He's back.
James Mungro. Everybody give James Mungro a hand. By everybody, I mean just me and Ashley. Hi, Mungro. We're so happy to have you back.
Well, thank you for having me back.
I just said this earlier, but I was literally just bragging about Mungro. And I don't know what you say when you talk about your football career, but I was so excited to be like, yeah, he's on the set of our podcast. You know him, Super Bowl champion, Indianapolis Colts. But he was also on Syracuse, of course. So we're really excited to have you back for another season. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you.
All right, let's get into it. This episode, we are going to do a little bit of a Tennessee recap. We are also going to do a Yukon preview. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And just to say it once, this episode is sponsored by Apex Entertainment, so thanks so much for being our sponsor. We're going to go Tennessee first, just to get Mungro's thoughts because he wasn't here for our instant recap. Syracuse lost that game by quite a bit. Couple touchdowns, didn't cover the spread. Just want to know your initial thoughts on that loss.
Well, one thing is I think the guys played hard, so I was very happy about that. There's a lot of work to be done, but I'm glad it was a tough team they played because normally we play an easy team and we get the false illusion that we're better than what we really are. So I think that's a very good point to make, and the guys now knows what it feels like to play big-time football. You know, at a big-time stadium, hostile environment. This is how it's going to be if you want to win these big games.
I have two big things off the top from Tennessee for you. So as a former running back, what did you like from Yassine Willis?
Okay. The boy's good. I enjoyed watching the running backs. The offensive linemen obviously did a decent job of running the ball wise. Pass protection, they need some work. They need some work in pass protection. Know who you're blocking. The schemes a few times. The quarterback took a sack. Just because the O-lineman is blocking three guys on one, doing a little twist up front. It's very common. But, I mean, all in all, I would rate that whole game, for Syracuse, including everything, coaching, special teams, a C-. There's lots of things they need to get better. The guys look a little shaky in the beginning. Once they got comfortable, they look good. But then, the other side of the ball comes out there and they let go a touchdown. So there's a lot of work to be done, but they know they have a measuring stick now. So that's the positive thing. That's
what I was just going to say. I feel like C- is a good grade, first of all. I feel like that's pretty accurate for that performance. But defensively, what stuck out to you? I know that's not but what to you was bad?
They got to tackle. First and foremost, you have to tackle the guys. You can't give them second chances. But, they played hard. They didn't give up. Usually when you get beat, in a hostile environment like that, Fran kept the guys rallied still, and they believed in themselves throughout the whole game. I would probably imagine with the 5 minutes left in the game, they came to a conclusion what's going to happen. But they stuck together as a team, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And now you go to the drawing board and, you have this next game and, you should, blow this next team out.
Fran Brown did mention, I agree. And the C-, good for you, Mungro, coming in with a real honest take there, and I appreciate that.
I feel like C- fits.
So do I. I think that's great. And listen, Fran Brown even said, at this week's press conference, of course, people are asking about the tackling, and I don't want to speak for both of you, I guess I'll just speak for myself. Looking at the score of that game, 45-26, what concerns me more is the 45, not the 26. I feel nervous about the amount of points that Syracuse allowed, and I think that was kind of the general consensus in the room because people were asking about tackling. One thing about Fran Brown, he hates losing a lot more than he loves winning.
Yeah.
He was pissed up there, visibly bubbling underneath the surface, kind of pissed. And he's like, listen, everyone is going to come up to this podium and say that you have to, do drills and fix, your tactics. But at some point, he's like, you have to go helmet to helmet and just freaking hit.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, there are people he's like, I don't understand why some of our guys were out there trying to, tackle other players' legs.
Yeah, try and do finesse things. And, honestly, you got to just hit the person and wrap your arms. At this level, you're just not going to think you're going to do arm tackle. I mean, you got to wrap your arms. You got to bring it 100% every single time. And, Tennessee was physical. They were very physical against us. And we held up a little bit, but then obviously we had times where we broke down as a unit.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting to see, especially later in that game when Syracuse was already down, it almost seemed like the focus defensively shifted from more of that physicality, more of that tackling to like guys were trying to get the ball out. Like, I don't know if you saw Demetrius Samuel, even on that really long, like 73-yard pass that was a touchdown, final few yards, he gets to the 5, he's trying to punch the ball instead of like going for his legs, which was just a little bit interesting. But I also thought from Fran yesterday, Monday, he went as far as to question his players, whether it was technique or courage. He went as far as to say, I don't know if some of these guys don't know how, basically I'm paraphrasing, or if they're scared. He used the word scared. So to see him go up there and I think question, and don't get me wrong, he knows that he's motivating his team by doing that. He knows that he's, put in some bulletin board material for his own team. But to, I think, hear him question that was refreshing because at least you know that he's willing to challenge them, right?
Well, it's so funny. This girl reads my mind. Like, I feel like we're just on the same damn wavelength at this point because I was just about to ask you that. That stuck out to me, too. He said, it's hard when I look back at the tape to know whether my players were confused or scared.
Confused, yes.
He's like, I'm having a hard time figuring out which emotion that was. And I guess I wanted to ask you, I mean, listen, he's saying, football is a contact sport. I guess I really just want to know, A, is it possible that players are scared out there? Like, it does seem kind of scary, to be fair.
Well, the terminology is break their will. And when you break someone's will, that means they don't want to go back out there. They don't want to tackle you. They're just trying to just end this game as quick as possible. And I guess, when he's saying that, he's obviously motivating his players. But again, in your heart, you say to yourself, how do you make these mistakes? How do you make these different mental mistakes? Just on the special teams. And this is just something the team is very smart at. They punt the ball, get away from the ball. The guy who's receiving the ball should be yelling and screaming as loud as he possibly can. Yes, it's loud, but still, you got to have some type of awareness what's going on. And there wasn't that type of awareness out there at the time. You never want to put the referee to make a decision on the game. And luckily, obviously that wasn't a big decision maker because the game was out of reach at the time. But you never want to do that.
I also think like a lot of notable former football players and coaches throughout history have always said like tackling is something that almost can't be taught, right?
Yes.
These kids learn how to tackle when they're 8, 10 years old. Like these kids that are out there now for Syracuse that are 20, 22 years old have been at this for a while, right? I think that's what Fran was more so questioning is you have to have not only the technique and the drills and practice, but you have to have the will. You have to have the outright want to get physical out there. And I think that we obviously sat here after Tennessee and questioned a lot of things about Elijah Robinson and his defense and the schemes that we've seen through the first year and now the second game of year 2. And there is something to be said for that. But there also, I think, is something to be said for this problem, right? Where you can't force these kids to do this. You're not playing for them out on the field.
And let's be fair about one thing. Fran Brown wouldn't go up there and say those things unless he knew in his heart that if he was a player out there, he would be tackling. Listen, he's a lot of things, but one thing is he really is authentic and I think true to his word. And I think he's pissed off because if every player on the team was as competitive as he is, was as mad about a loss as he is, and had the will to tackle the way that he likely did as a player, it very well could be a different team. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Well, I mean, it's funny because I would always say to myself, if my team was all made up of me at each position, obviously, different weights and all that type of stuff, we would be undefeated because there's no way I'm going to get my will broken. There's just no way in any position. That's just a mindset you got to have, and that's, something professionals have. And it builds, it just... You got to have that within. It's no way it's taught.
Right. Yeah. Right. And
I think a great point.
I think, look, it's worth pointing out that, Tennessee went up 17-0, and that was the hole that Syracuse was then put in for the rest of the game in that first quarter. Obviously, that's a really tough hole to climb out of.
Big hole.
Syracuse pretty much ran with them the rest of the way, right? So it is worth saying that some things got cleaned up as the game continued to go on.
I would call that a ditch, not a hole.
Right. We fell into a ditch.
A ravine.
A ravine, one might say.
I miss this guy.
But yeah, anyways.
No, I think it's all good points. Well, listen, obviously can't do anything to make the outcome of that any different. You just have to look ahead, and that has always been Fran Brown's mindset. So let's get into the UConn preview. Syracuse opens as a 7.5-point favorite. This is Saturday, noon at the Dome. You can watch it on the ACC Network Extra. if nothing else, Syracuse is going to have that home field advantage again. But there are some other things to talk about here, too. A little bit on UConn's recent background. They're an independent in FBS football. They are led by legendary head coach Jim Mora, who was previously the head coach at UCLA and in the NFL with the Saints and the Falcons. Ashley has a note here that I think is really important. Go ahead and say that.
Yeah, so Syracuse played UConn last year. You might have forgotten about it because it was
I forgot.
It was forgettable, right? It was week 11 of the season, or game 11 for Syracuse. It was right before Miami, and they beat UConn 31-24 last year at the Dome in late November. I think it was like November 23rd. That was with Kyle McCord and all of the seniors and all of the cast of characters that they had last year. McCord in that game tallied 470 passing yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. The Orange obviously won. I miss him. But UConn was pesky. They didn't go away in the second half, right? They didn't stop scoring. They kept testing that Syracuse defense. And I think, listen, this is a game that Syracuse, if Fran Brown wants to build this program to the caliber of where he wants to build it, this is a game you have to win. This can't be a question mark. However, I don't want to say it's a trap game. I just want to say UConn is a better team than people think. Last year they went 9-4. They went to a bowl game. They played UNC in the Fenway Bowl, and they won it. Jim Mora is a head coach with a lot of experience, and they have a really senior quarterback who we'll get into here in a minute. So if Syracuse falls asleep, they could be not only in trouble, but at least running with them through the entire game. I don't think this is a game where Syracuse can play B+ football.
Not to mention C-.
Oh, C-, you're going to lose.
C-,
you're going to lose C- football. You know, honestly, I think the way Tennessee handled us this week we should be handling UConn the same type of way. That's what I picture. That's how the guy gets the confidence back. But again, if you let UConn hang around, it's gonna be a damn battle, you know. And you know, Syracuse will pull it out hopefully, but they have to start right from the beginning. You know, right from the beginning, playing smart football.
Yeah, and I think it'll be important to see, we've been talking a lot about defense, but Angeli and the offense, I guess, get off to a rhythm to start, right? Because he wasn't really able to do that in the Tennessee game. Obviously, a few factors there. It'll be important to see Angeli kind of settle in, right? Home game, you have your offense in front of you against a weaker caliber opponent, and to see that O-line. Angeli took 5 sacks against Tennessee. Like, we can say a few things about Angeli and how he played. I think he played all right against Tennessee. But the O-line also needs to protect him. We can't be letting up 5 sacks against UConn. We need to see those 2 units settle in, right?
And again, to another thing, too, as well, UConn's going to be a lot slower than Tennessee.
Definitely.
So the offensive linemen should be able to pick out and block the correct guys, and the running backs pick the correct people as well. But again, UConn can be very dangerous, and UConn has been building over the years, and they've gotten better every year.
I think
that's something to be worried about.
It's worth mentioning, obviously it's a different level of competition, but the truth of the matter is, in week 1, UConn won against Central Connecticut 59-13. They are 1-0. They racked up a school record 638 total yards. Syracuse, in a way, got throttled. UConn's coming in with confidence. Syracuse coming in with a little bit of insecurity. That could matter here. As far as UConn's quarterback, what'd you find out?
So this kid, I actually shouldn't even call him a kid because there is a chance that he is older than me. I just want to put that in everyone's radar.
25-year-old kid.
He is in, Joe Fagano at UConn is in his 7th collegiate season.
Goodness.
7. He spent a little time at Maine. This is his 3rd year with UConn. Last year he threw 20 touchdowns for a little bit over 1,600 yards. He was only intercepted 4 times. But we need to take a minute. 7 years of college football. What does that make him? 25?
Can we take
24?
a breath? 24.
That's
24.
Probably 24. Yep.
Maybe 25 if he's on the older spectrum of it.
Nasty work. That's not a kid.
I mean,
Demetrius
that
Samuel
is
Jr. is a kid.
Playing college
Demetrius
football.
Samuel Jr. Yeah, well,
You
literally.
got 2 kids, grandson on the way. Like, that's a grown-ass man.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But again, I mean, one person's not going to win the game.
No.
You know what I mean? But I mean, obviously, he's going to have command of the game, and the players on his team believe in him as being a grown-up. And, you know, he'll dictate everything.
And here's the other thing. I think with a team like UConn that you were saying about it before, right? They win their first game, Central Connecticut, 59-13. They just throttled them. This is a game that it's almost UConn's Super Bowl in a way. And I think that's a really dangerous thing, right? This is a game on the schedule that UConn has circled, starred, because they're independent. They obviously are FBS, but they play some of those lower caliber teams, right? Like Buffalo and Ball State and those things. So when you only have a few ACC ACC Power 4 games on your schedule. And then not only that, only a few of them that are in the Northeast, right? They play like Duke and a couple other ACC teams, but Syracuse is that only Northeast team. We know UConn and Syracuse are obviously longtime rivals in basketball, but in terms of that Northeast pride, UConn's going to be looking to at least come away with their pride here, and they're going to be looking to showcase something. And I think when you're Syracuse, that's a dangerous sort of thing.
I agree with you with that because, like you said, the two areas are very close to each other. There should be a lot of UConn fans here. Like you said, UConn has been on the rise. UConn has been on the rise, and this would be their Super Bowl. I mean, this would be something that would be big for the program, knocking off Syracuse. Syracuse is down, like you said. We're 0-1, they're 1-0, so therefore they're going to come in with confidence. And we'll know very early in the game how the game is going to go.
From the coach to the quarterback and beyond, the word that sticks out to me here is experience. It's going to matter from UConn versus Syracuse. All right, we got to get out of here. Paul has to go direct. We got to go do our day jobs. Let's just wrap it up with this question. What are you looking to see Syracuse clean up in week 2? We'll start with you, Mungro. You end it.
I think obviously I mentioned the O-line. I think seeing Angeli and the offense get comfortable and settle into a rhythm quickly in the first quarter. And I also think, the blaringly obvious, the run defense. They have to be able to stop a team like UConn defensively, the run defense. I even think I want to see Syracuse get a little crafty here, right? Show me that you can take the ball away. Show me that you can pressure the quarterback, right? This would be a game in terms of Syracuse's schedule and the challenge of that this year to kind of do those things. So those are some of the things I want to see.
So I think what you're trying to say as a former athlete, a stat builder.
Yes.
Syracuse should be building stats on this team, and I think we're going to know earlier on, like I said previously, that which way this game is going to go. If you let UConn hang in there, they could do some things. You're going to have to get them early and stay on top of them. And the biggest thing I think is tackle. If the guys tackle and play on the other side of the ball, we'll be in good shape. But tackle and keep the quarterback calm. And the running game will be there. O-linemen, get better, but it should be a stat builder.
I agree with that. I want to see a team that doesn't play scared. If Fran Brown has a little bit of nervousness about that and he wants to see what kind of team that this team is, why not take some risks in this game? Why not fail trying, Yeah. Why not potentially succeed because you're capable and willing to take some of those risks that need to be taken? Hopefully we see some of that this weekend, and either way, it's the first game at the Dome, and that's really exciting. So thank you guys so much as always for being here. Thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you back here next week.